be extremely cautious of the information that you're getting from these quote-unquote pro players.
Welcome all to another episode of the Win and podcast.
Nice.
Episode 20. We've gotten to the 20s now. I am here with my usual co-host, Mr. Gabe Hohenstein, Jonathan Wyatt. How's it going, guys?
Splendid.
Yeah, it's going well. So no complaints. I feel like we've had some good activity these last couple weeks for Flesh and Blood. So just ready to get into it.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about, even just from our last week podcast, which we had with Peter Budensick, who won the Battle Harn. So if you want to know how he won with Kano, check out the last one. But today we're going to talk about, we just had this recent Battle Harn Bologna. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the new announcements with organized play and where the new Battle Harns and Calling and even Worlds is going to be. And then we're going to talk about some new spoiler cards that got errata. And then we even have a little bonus subject to talk about afterwards that we'll let Jonathan lead the way into. But let's get into that Battle Harn Bologna now. And a Bravo won this one.
Ooh.
What do y'all think of that?
I didn't even keep track of that. That's crazy.
Yeah, Luka Kramaric. Bravo had a notoriously bad outing in Calling Indianapolis, but here in the European scene, he was able to take it.
Was there anything special about his list, or was it just kind of just like a generic Bravo?
You know, I liked his list because it ran Grandeur of Valahai, and anytime I can put a gem in my decks, I want to.
I like it.
I do like that. But yeah, nothing too special. Ran 2 Oasis Respite, so I'm guessing he was worried about Icelander a little bit there. A lunging press is kind of spicy.
Yeah, I really like that.
Well, I mean, it works out. He had 2 Icelanders in the top 8, so it might have worked.
Yeah. Oldham and Bravo were the finalists. Bravo tends to have a good matchup in the Oldham, so that was a good final battle that he had. But yeah, it was a very diverse meta is what I'm seeing here.
No, that's sweet.
Yeah, so there was 150 players, I think. Or wait, hold up. Yeah, I think that's what it said. 150 something. 160. 160.
My golly.
So that's a good size Battle Harn. Anytime you can pass 100 marker, I think the data you can take from this is pretty real at that point because it's just a lot to go through. A lot of rounds are being played.
You can only lose once. Probably.
We saw Icelander, Briar, and Dash all have 21 players representing that hero, which was the most. So Icelander, Briar, and Dash. But then, at the end we saw two Icelanders, no Dash, and no Briars. Just still pretty hard for aggro. So, no Fies in this one either. We did see a Lexi in this. It's a Lightning Lexi.
There was a Fi that made it to the top 8.
Oh shit! Yeah, you're right. Sorry, Alberto Di Blasi. Yeah, you're right. Fi did make it to the top 8. I believe that's
if anything, like kind of leave it up to Europe to mix it up a bit because like right before the Pro Tour, you got some interesting data saying, hey, like there's a variety of heroes that you can bring. So
that's the big thing about Pro Tour, and that's the big thing about Worlds is that you can look at the American meta, but it's just no matter how like one-dimensional our meta is, it does not impact the rest of the world. Like Europe always has a different looking meta. Asia always has a different looking meta. And even the Australian, New Zealand scene. So it is super interesting. I almost sometimes wish I lived in Europe for the Flesh and Blood meta. It's a bit more diverse, which is kind of cool. You can kind of get away with playing a Bravo there, where here you cannot.
So my question is, because we were just at Indianapolis and we were contemplating playing in a Battle Hardened, because this was Blitz, correct? Or is it?
I think this was Classic Constructed.
Oh, was it? So maybe.
Yeah, it's Classic Constructed.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, my question's invalid, and I rescind everything. I thought it was Blitz for some reason. Never mind.
No, yeah. Bravo and Blitz would have been very interesting. But no, this classic constructed.
I guess I'm just so...
But yeah, we're even seeing Dromai and Viscerai in the top 8 as well. So it's very, very diverse, which is really cool. And you know what my favorite thing is? Is that we Americans will look at this European meta. We'll look at a Asian meta, even the Australia and New Zealand meta. We even do this one. And we're like, they're just not as good as us.
Disregard
they just
it.
don't have it figured out like we do.
Oh, Lord.
That's always how I hear it. It's like, it's too diverse because they haven't solved it like we did. It's like, I think everyone's toots their own horn.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, yeah, I would agree.
All right. Well, I was for sure get you, talking on that one, Jonathan. I was sure I'd trigger you, get you triggered a little bit there, but you held strong. I'll give you that.
Here's the thing: I'm not just gonna bite at every little bait that gets thrown my way.
I was casting the reel. I was trying to get you.
All right. Well, now that you've cast it again, you got me. Okay, so
big net this time.
Like here's the thing: there's still 2 Icelanders in the top 8. There's still 2 Guardians. So it's and then it's everything else. So at the end of the day, it's even Europe has to acknowledge that Icelander and Guardian are just the strongest decks in my opinion. So
they are, and the Icelander decks out there were almost mere copies of Michael Hamilton's Icelander. So it's not. It's so good. That deck is so damn good. I've been practicing with it, just getting better as an Icelander player, and it's just such a good deck. And I totally get that people just kind of copy paste it. I get it. I just also wish that we saw a little bit more variance with Icelander, but I guess the reason why we don't is because
you're just saying they don't have it solved, but if they're playing the solved deck,
that's what I'm saying. That deck's probably solved. Yeah. So we Americans, we do have Michael Hamilton, and that is what we stand behind for sure.
Yeah, that's a thin person to stand behind too. Not gonna, he's no Bravo, just with an unmovable block in your way, right? It's
yeah, that is true. We do have to kind of,
and us big Americans, he's not gonna block much, but we'll take it. We'll take what we got.
Yeah,
right?
We'll take what we have.
And
he'll give him a frostbite. He'll stop him, slow him down a little bit.
Look, I can't wait for the moment where we can't stand behind him anymore because we just got to take advantage of it now.
We roll over at that point. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe Tariq will step up for us, but
Oh no, he's Canadian now.
He's American in the sense that there's no Canada.
All right, so for the audience listening in, you heard it here first, but I'm just gonna say it now, right? When Tarek Patel, when he lived in America, he was winning events. Yeah. He was winning callings.
Yeah, sure.
He was winning nationals, but then he moved to Canada, and he's a little washed now. So.
Top 8 of callings washed.
Hey, look!
I wish I was washed like that.
No one remembers the back end of top 8, guys. Let's.
That's true. Let me tell you.
Hey, when Tarek, when you decide to move back to America, we'll let you get first place.
When you decide to get serious with the game again.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh man.
Shots have been fired.
Well, speaking of North America and all this other worldly stuff, we also got the Premier Play announcement, which goes over all the callings and battle hardens and Pro Tour and Worlds that's coming up. So we are getting it's all the way up to August. So we're getting a good little timeline of events we can play. So that's nice that we get it sooner than later. So let's kind of go over what this announcement said. First off, Europe is getting 2 callings.
Mm-hmm.
You got Calling Antwerp and Calling Birmingham. So that's going to be pretty cool, pretty fun. They also got a Battle Hardened and I don't even know where this place is.
It's in Germany.
I tend to like geography. But yeah, so they get a battle hardened in Germany, which is very cool. But now let's come back. So, and the other thing that Europe gets is we don't know when, but we know that the next Worlds tournament is going to be in Europe. We don't know when or where, but we know it is.
Yeah, a little disappointed that they didn't give us a country, so that if we wanted the opportunity to look for tickets and maybe like get there early and like take a train into whatever city it gets hosted. I mean, that would have been nice, but I'll take what I can get.
So,
if there was a country you wanted to be, what would it be?
Probably Spain or Germany, I think.
Germany would be cool.
Spain would be real cool.
I think France.
A lot of people are saying Germany, and Germany would be pretty sweet.
I think the reason why Germany I would lean a little bit more towards is just because it's more Central Europe, right? And like,
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, so I think like I think France being like the Pro Tour too, that was pretty big, and I think pretty centrally located. I don't know if they're willing to do that again, or if they want to just try something new. So I think Germany would be kind of the next closest one, but Spain would kind of be cool too. Give Pablo some of that much needed rest before a major event.
Yeah,
really
very true.
Take off the weights and then go forward. But kind of a side point, just being like a really terrible American. When I saw the Calling Birmingham, I was like,
"Oh, you're thinking Alabama."
Yeah, go out, meet the family, the extended family out in Alabama.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and then you saw that nice palace, and you're like, "Oh, that's not Birmingham."
Hey, wait a minute! I didn't
that's
know
not Alabama.
I didn't know Alabama had nice architecture.
I didn't know they had Big Ben.
Yeah, usually it's just the metal sheets on the outside of
You're right. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. You know what? I have a theory. All right, because I'm taking this based off of the Pro Tours that have happened here in America. The first one was in New Jersey, which is right next door to New York City. So it's like, okay, that's a little tourist destination, right? The second one was in France, but then we're having the third Pro Tour in Baltimore, which is right next door to Washington, D.C., so another little touristy place. The Worlds was in San Jose, right next door to San Francisco. Not as touristy as the other, but still very much a
San
touristy
Francisco's
place.
Iconic, so I would disagree. But
yeah, so the France one was pretty near Paris, obviously. So I think it's within the realm of reality that Greece could get it. Just gonna put that out like an Athens.
Be wild.
I would be more incentivized to go.
You just want to eat that kind of food. That's like your favorite.
Like that.
Flesh and
Greek
blood.
food would be amazing. And then you see, well, also, I always respected the Greeks. All right, Yorgos Samaras or whatnot. That guy is an Oldham god to me. All right, when he has an Oldham list out, I look at his list before anyone else's. So yeah, I would be freaking stoked. Or maybe like a Rome or something.
Rome could be fun.
They got Flesh and Blood playing in both these countries. It's easily doable. I don't know. Could happen. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I would. I guess I wouldn't really mind like an Italian Worlds, right? I think that'd be pretty good. I mean, the food would just be excellent over there, right? So.
Dude, we'd get so fat. It'd be amazing.
They could by London too.
See, I don't want London.
So
I just don't want the UK.
So with Brexit and like just all the EU regulations to move just a lot of the logistical items between between UK and the rest of Europe, I am kind of curious if LSS will kind of avoid like the UK just for Worlds. So that
I mean they had the calling in the UK. That's what makes me think maybe not. Because Birmingham, right? Calling Birmingham, that's in the UK.
We could go to
and
Moscow.
like Antwerp's, Belgium. Okay, yeah, I don't think we're gonna get one in Russia. I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean, considering
they don't even play in Russia.
Considering it's like a one-off event, I don't think it will be like as bad as like bands that want to travel through Europe, because they typically avoid the London area because of the logistical costs. So I'm not sure if that will play into LSS's decision on where they're going, but yeah, I would really like to know what country they're going to sooner rather than later, because it does feel like with this OP announcement, I had to make that last minute decision to go to Baltimore when I originally wasn't going to. So that kind of switched over. So now I will be attending the Pro Tour.
Let's talk about why you made that decision, because we haven't talked about what's happening here in the States. We've only talked about Europe. Let's talk about what's happening here in the States. We have a Battle-Hardened Richmond. Okay, I believe that one's going to be like sealed or something, which is kind of cool. Nope, just kidding. It's classic constructed. There's Battle-Hardened Pittsburgh. That one's going to be sealed. And then there's a Battle-Hardened Salt Lake City. And then that's it. So we don't have any more callings after Indy. And this is up to August. They did make an announcement saying that once they confirm where and when Worlds is, they will announce the rest of the tournaments throughout the year. So maybe after August, we'll get a calling, which I'd assume we would. But from here now, which is like mid-February to August, we are not going to get any callings here in the States. And on top of that, the battle hardens that we're getting, with the exception like of Salt Lake City, it's all on the east side, right? So not a lot of opportunities to play at big events this year to August for us, on the state side.
Yeah, it really looks like, as far as the events go for the U.S. Remaining, right, outside of Battle Hardens, it looks like really we have the Pro Tour and then Nationals, right? So they could announce callings after or in between, but it's not really looking great as far as big events in the U.S. So yeah, had to make that quick pivot. Flights were actually kind of a little cheaper than I expected going to Baltimore from when I initially looked. So that kind of helped out, gave that extra push. But yeah, this gotta say, just the OP announcement kind of missed the mark a little bit for the US. I was hoping that there'd be like another calling with the release.
Feels like there should have been one more for sure.
Yeah, with the release of Outsiders, I thought there could have been one, but just with like the whole Channel Fireball situation and them not having events, and then just
no Channel Fireball events this year.
Yeah, so from what I understood, the contract may have ended, right? And I don't know whether LSS is looking to revamp that or make them hurt a little bit. But either way,
it's hard to say.
I don't want to speculate too much on that. All I know is that the contract's out, right? So there's anything could be happening right there, right? But that's probably why we're not really getting a lot of those events out in the West Coast. It looks like the Realm Games is trying to pick that up with their.
Looks like Realm Games is, because Realm Games is associated with the Battle Hardens that are around. At least, definitely for the Pittsburgh and Salt Lake City one. I don't see them for the Richmond one, but yeah. So and there's what's called they have their own little tournament happening on Saturday, and then a Battle Hardens on Sunday. In their own tournament, you can earn a Realm invite, which so it sounds like we're getting like we already have in California the Age Opens and whatnot. So it sounds like Realm is doing something similar. So there's picking up the slack where Channel Fireball left. So
yeah,
maybe this is what we see in the future.
It's good that vacuum was quickly filled by the Realm. I'm kind of interested to see how these invites are going to play out. I think it may just be a little extra, like a little too extra, if you get what I'm meaning there.
It might be. We'll have to see.
But yeah, really,
I'll be at the Salt Lake City one, so hopefully I can grab one and then to see if I go.
Yeah, and then you can let us know how it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, really excited for the Realm Games. I'm glad that they've really entered that opportunity. I think it's something that Flesh and Blood has kind of needed, and I was hoping that battle hardens in general, just like if they go to Dallas, maybe I don't know, maybe one of the local game stores there, like Reaper, could probably pick up an event and probably
feels like Reaper's big enough, right? It's been there since the beginning. Yeah,
I'd be really interested for LGSs to kind of look into that. I don't know kind of the logistics and the expenses around picking up an event,
right,
and the cost associated with that. But I would love for that to be kind of an opportunity for just players that want to play at semi big events but can't necessarily go out to a calling. I know that at least my folks down in the South were hurting a little bit because we do have to travel.
True.
We've had to travel.
Yeah. There's nothing happening as we know of in Dallas right now, which tends to be a city that gets a lot. Florida didn't get any as well. It's really. I mean, and then if you look at it, like the people in the Northeast, like Seattle and Portland area, like Salt Lake is somewhat close, but it's still a travel. Like we're used to last year where there was like
Portland always got
basically one every week, and so it's just like, oh, you could just kind of wait for it to be at yours. But we also mentioned, like, on the team level, and I can just bring this conversation out here, is that when the battle hardens were not as few, so when there was more battle hardens, we saw less people at battle hardens. Mm-hmm. Like they would get just at 100 or maybe a little less or a little more. And personally, we didn't take the battle hardens, as far as like the data that came from them, we didn't take it too serious because it felt like battle hardens, like the competitive level, kind of took a step down.
Yeah, it was just an armory.
So
right?
It felt like a super armory. Mm-hmm. And that's not to take away anything from people who've won battle hardens, because it's still an impressive feat regardless.
Yeah, right after our podcast with Peter, we're like,
well, yeah,
no, obviously you're not doing that. Yeah. So I just it's funny.
But I'm curious, if we're going to see more numbers at these battle hardens, since there's going to be fewer, and with more numbers, I tend to take the data more and more serious, because it's like you have more rounds to go through, you have more variances to like eliminate. That's my dog. Anyways, but so I think we might get a better showing with fewer. So to try to take a little bit of the good with the bad here. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it looks like Dallas is excited for that battle hardened stats, right? He's
Dallas is
really
joke.
Yeah, that's my dog, Dallas. Yeah,
we'll cut that.
No, I keep it, Gabe.
I even wrote down a little note. I'm like 23 minutes in, kill Dallas. All right, we can keep Dallas.
Just kill. Let's talk about some of the other things that happened this week, which everyone's excited about. Mm-hmm. Everyone's looking at is the new spoilers we got this week. All right, everyone's excited in the fact that, hey, we're in a bit of a lull period. We want this Outsiders. We want it. So any bit of spoiler information we get, we're fucking thrilled about. So let's go over some of the cards we've got. The first one that I want to talk about is the Peace of Mind. Mm-hmm. Here, write this down, Gabe. We can put this card up.
I was planning on it. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You'll talk about it, then I just throw it on.
Yeah, no, see, that's why you're our editor, dude. You're already on this stuff. Anyways, we get an Oldham card, guys. Peace of Mind. A two cost instant that is an Oasis Respite that lets you draw a card at the end. Seems pretty damn good.
Yeah, and
seems like only for Oldham.
And Team Covenant looks like they got the card with Groot on it. So
exactly right.
They did. Yeah, there's the alternate version, and it definitely does look like Groot. It's true.
I like it.
Like that's the thing. Like they released the alternate art first, and then they show us the normal one. So it's like, why would I ever want the normal one? Like at that point, right?
The normal one has a little deer on it.
I like his bird. His bird's cute.
And a bird.
Dude, like my collector brain, like it just activated. LSS knows what they're doing, and like it's working. It's working. So.
Yeah, it does look pretty. The alternate art, it does shine a little bit more.
I feel at peace when I look at that card. Right.
All right.
Good. You know what? I always wanted to kind of look at cards and as far as their name and like, you know, how their name really ties in to like their abilities, like what happens. Tome of Harvest is a great one. But looking at Peace of Mind, you know, like you're saying, Jonathan gives you peace of mind. But the thing is, it's like, hey, don't worry. You can use all your cards to block here.
You can.
I'm talking as an older player. Don't worry. Because the peace of mind is you'll draw a card and you'll arsenal it and you'll be fine.
Hey, as an aggro player, I am not
right.
feeling peaceful. I'm not feeling peaceful at all as an aggro player.
Enraged.
If an ultimate shows me that card, yeah. What were you saying? What were you saying?
I want a board. I want like a board card. You know, I want that boar state of mind. You know, where I'm just like rooting, and riling. That's what I want.
Yeah, you're in that boar mentality right now.
Exactly. Always in that boar mentality.
One quick thing to note about this card is that it actually shows the spear symbol for the physical damage. So this is our first time we're seeing physical damage represented in this way. So yeah, just a little tidbit.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, really exciting. Curious to see if any other heroes kind of pick up on this card. But right now it looks like Oldhim and Crown of Seeds is like the only one to pay for it. But yeah,
it's beautiful.
Like just really looking forward to seeing what other heroes use it. But right now,
hell, I don't even need Crown of Seeds. I can just shield in Peace of Mind, whatever. You know, there's so many ways.
Could bump it up from
I can Oasis Respite and Peace of Mind. All right. Anyways,
I love it when the Oldhim players just start talking about options. It's like, oh man, sounds nice. Sounds nice. We got Belittle taken away though, so
that's true.
Yeah, so you guys enjoy your options.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's great. Because speaking of options, let's get into our next card. The new token bow that both Azalea and Riptide, you will be rocking this bow in drafts if you draft those Ranger heroes. Barbed Castaway, it has options because you can choose both, I guess. Once per turn, instant paying a resource, you may put an arrow card from your hand face up into your arsenal. And then, so that's just like a normal bow. But you can also pay once per turn, pay one resource. You may turn a face down arrow in your arsenal face up if you do put an aim counter on it. So the aim counters are back. What do we think?
Scary.
Yeah.
I don't like aim counters. They just seem intimidating.
Yeah, I mean they add a lot. They really add that extra mechanic and give your arrows that extra oomph. So I'm really excited to see, aim counters being more of a thing. But regarding that ability specifically, looking at that at first, I was looking at it and just saying, I think that should be a 0 cost. But like with the aim counter being kind of that extra oomph, I guess maybe the 1 cost does kind of help. But kind of curious on your thoughts, Eric.
Yeah, so we've seen the Sand Scour bow. This is our first time it actually works with an aim counter. But you kind of got to work for your aim counter. Here, it makes it a lot easier just to get it. And I do think aim counter is going to be very important, especially moving forward. Because aim counter is the way that Rangers, such as Azalea, can be her own sort of deck and have her own sort of arrows without Lexi coming in and grabbing them and saying, yeah, I can do everything you can do, but I can do it better because I get elemental stuff.
This is the point where you sing that song and then we auto-tune it, but yeah.
yeah, exactly. I'm not going to do that, but yeah. I honestly think aim counters is a huge way that's going to basically be Azalea's identity as a hero. It's going to almost just be her ability without being her official ability. And that's why I think aim counters is probably going to be bigger than not. And I think we're going to get a lot more payoff cards. So it's like, as far as it should be free or not, I guess we'll find out. You know, are these payoff cards going to be big enough to make it where it's like, yeah, no, it's definitely worth it, or are we going to get kind of meh aim counter arrows that is just like, cool, now I had to pay 2 resources to do something cool.
Yeah. And I kind of want to tack on to that at the back end, and interested in your thoughts as well, Gabe, here. So like, with this new bow, obviously it's a token bow. There could always be the opportunity for there to be a majestic or even a higher rarity bow down the line in Outsiders. So like, in your opinion, with the amount of bows that are just available to the Ranger class right now, Sandscour's Great Bow is like the most recent that majestic class bow. Do you think that has like is there any validity to buying that right now prior to Outsiders? Do you think it's going to be utilized by the Rangers? Kind of an out there question. So I mean, obviously you're going out on a limb by answering that.
I know. I definitely think, depending on the price of the boat, I think if you can afford it, then yeah, you should buy it.
It's $150 for the marble.
Oh, you're looking at the fancy one.
Oh, the marble.
Let me go pull that up. So it's $150.
Well, here's the good news: is the people that we already play Rangers with marble, or like, yeah, they're already bought that. Yeah. So like that's fine. They don't gotta worry about it. They bought it as soon as it came out.
I definitely think if like you want to play Ranger and you think there's a chance it could work, then you should buy it. Like if you're a Ranger that wants to flex, totally buy it. But if you're a person like me that doesn't play Ranger or care to play Ranger, then just who cares, right?
If it's go ahead.
I just got my Ranger cards, and let me just say, looking at the other ones, they're expensive.
Did you buy them?
No, that's the one thing I haven't really bought. Like,
so this is where the question comes from. He's just asking for himself.
I mean,
I need 5 of them. I need help. And it's your job to give that help to me, guys.
Okay, without a doubt, you should buy it. There's 5 on the market, 1 for $160. Then there's like 165, 180, 180, and the 250. So the market doesn't have a lot of them. You might be able to find one elsewhere, but you should probably buy it if you're considering it.
Yeah,
that sounds like FOMO.
Yeah, when you say it so passionately and so well like that, so eloquently, I'm a little scared that you have like a binder just filled with these.
Oh, so many. No, I definitely think it's totally a pickup. If you're gonna FOMO about it and you want it down the line, you probably should just get it now, even if it goes down a little.
It is one of those things I'm kind of hum and hawing about right now. I just recently got my assassin cards. I got my cold foil Ranger equipment. I'm getting prepped, but like there's still some things, right?
I know who you need to talk to. It's one of our heroes of this podcast, Mr. Levi Rauch. He is the Azalea main. He would know
if this
Sandscour Great Bow is going to be worth it or not.
Yeah, that is good.
We got to get that guy on here.
We really do.
I got to figure out how to talk to him because I fangirl over him quite a bit. I'm just, anyone that can top 8 Azalea when Azalea's not good is impressive in my mind.
Yeah, they're a champion. So I'd say you should buy it.
We'll just hold off on the question. We'll just bring him on here, and you can ask him directly.
Yeah, I mean that's what we need, but hopefully sooner rather than later. I hope the price doesn't go up too high after this.
Yeah, that's true. We'll get him on next week. No, I don't know, but if we can, we will. I'll say that. I will legitimately make a big push.
Does he have a Twitter? We can try to hit him up through Twitter.
I bet he does. Everyone has a freaking Twitter. That's how you communicate in this game. Like
really
honestly,
is.
LSS use Twitter like no other.
Let's
move on to our last spoiler that we got, and this one's a big one because it is a specialization. It is our first Riptide card. It's another Ranger card, so obviously it is a blue pitch, 0 cost. Trap that blocks for 3 called Collapsing Trap, legendary Riptide specialization. When this defends an attack with Go Again, the attacking hero discards their hand and draws that many cards -1. That's so huge. That is. I mean, there's a reason why it's legendary. Like that's such a huge ability.
It's borderline broken. Like it's so good. I mean, it's not broken, but like.
A little bit.
I mean, it's just a plan ruiner, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Like, that's the whole thing about aggro. Is aggro says, while you're taking your turn, aggro looks at here. Let me get some cards here. Aggro looks at their hand and are like, yeah, okay, do your thing. Because they're playing out their turn. They're not going to block.
Yeah.
They're playing out, like, how do I best use these 4 cards?
Dude, I can't believe you had cards just ready. That's so good.
Oh, dude, it's a mess on this desk with Flesh and Blood cards, let me tell you.
I don't have any of my cards near me right now,
yeah.
so I love that. So thank you.
No, you guys are much more professional than I. There's a reason why the camera like shows this point up, right?
Mountain of cards right below.
I'm your typical Flesh and Blood player with cards just everywhere around here.
Yeah, I feel like your chair might be made out of cards.
Could be.
If it was comfy enough, I might.
No, I appreciate it.
No, this kills aggro hands. Obviously, you could draw into a better hand, you could draw into a worse hand, but like the whole point is that, like you said, Jonathan, you plan out a turn, so it like just disrupts your whole plan. You have to like reorganize, and you lose a card. You have to draw that many cards -1, so you just lose a card, which is huge.
Do you think that like this would like have an effect on cards like Zealous Belting or Rouse the Ancients as well? Like, do you think that there's like any playability into that?
So it's a legendary, so it's only taking up 1 slot. So it might just be one of those cases because it's blue that it's just in your deck at all times, and just sometimes it works better than not. Mm-hmm. Most times it's just used to pitch. That just might be the case. Or it blocks for 3 too, so it just blocks pretty well. Now it's a trap, right? Which we'll get into doesn't mean any as like the same thing as it once meant. So right now the way it's set up right now is you can just block it for 3. It doesn't even have to be in your arsenal. We'll get into that though. So I think it is one of those cards that's like, even if you're going against Bravo, and it's like, yeah, like they can Rouse or Zealous Belting, but that's like the only time they fucking do that. You probably are just playing this card anyways because it's a blue pitch that blocks for 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm really interested to see, like, this card just looks so good, and like I think it just highlights the flavor that traps will have. So really excited, but yeah, let's get into the next announcement, like you were saying.
Let's go ahead and get into it, because traps aren't real anymore, guys.
Rip.
It's okay, so here it is. I had to pull it up here, but you don't need it. So why didn't we play traps before? Tell me, Jonathan, why didn't we play traps before?
Because it just took way too much work to get them going, right? Like
it took a lot of work.
There's a
lot of red tape around them, right? Yeah.
Gabe, you're right. Yeah, there is. You had to play it from your arsenal, and even with New Horizon, when you get to have 2 arsenal spots, like it's just still so hard because you got to devote the entire arsenal spot to play this one card that can only be played out of the arsenal, and it's only working is as a defense reaction, right? So there's only been 3 traps: Tripwire Trap, Pitfall Trap, Rockslide Trap. They're all from Crucible. Mm-hmm. That is no longer going to be the case. We're going to get more traps. We already saw 1. And because we're getting more and more traps, in order for Riptide to have a chance, I wasn't sure if his ability was going to allow this to happen like on a passive ability skill, but it seems like we're going to get it just as an errata in general. Traps no longer have to be played from Arsenal. Traps are basically D-reacts now. There will be certain heroes, like Riptide, and certain cards that work with the trap, what would that be? The trap name or whatnot, the trap type, whatever. Like there's cards that work with trap, but the word trap just is kind of synonymous with defense reaction at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the Crucible War Traps, they have a functional errata that says that specific trap can be played only from Arsenal, but as far as future traps going forward, they will not have that stipulation anymore, right? So there's going to be a lot more opportunities for Ranger to kind of venture off in different play lines here. So I think that really speaks to, just better gameplay down the line, and really LSS listening to our pleas, right? Our cries for help to make traps a little bit, more interactive. So I think that this will allow for that.
Yeah, and they are going to be reprinting these and giving them out as promos. So you will be able to get some foil traps that have the new errata text on it, which is basically just eliminated the top line. But so I'm super stoked that, like you said, open up new avenues. We're going to get more abilities using traps. It might not just be a Riptide thing anymore. Hell, we might even see Lexi use traps now, right? So who knows? Go ahead.
I mean, just in general, I'm like really excited for that they updated the errata traps, right? So like now they're much more functional, and like especially for like my play style. When I played Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day, like that was a long time ago. But the type of theme that I liked was like Trap Master and like effect monsters that like had like a lot of flips. So like I don't know, that's just like so annoying to play against. And like we can go over whether it was worthwhile or not competitively, which it wasn't. But like I think having that opportunity in Ranger to be kind of like that trap master, that disruption, just adding those that difficulty to the game and just being frustrating to deal with in general, I'm really excited for. I just think it's going to be really awesome to play.
You know what? You're going to be playing every single week in March with this new armory kit.
I think
because that's where you get your trap cards, right? There's 12 of each, so giving them out 3 at a time. You get the new bow, the Barb Castaway and Cold Foil. So if you have all your other bows in Cold Foil, you got to play this one, right? You got to get that bow. And then you get all the spikes with the blood rot or blood pox and frailty and inertia. You get those full art, and then the Uzuri playmat, which is the big one.
It's gonna be sick, dude. I'm stoked.
Yeah, so March is gonna be pretty hyped. We're gonna get more spoilers, but we're also getting our pre-armory set here, and getting all of our new cards that aren't quite legal yet, but
I was about to say, we have to wait to play with them.
Foaming at the mouth. Yeah, we just get to hold them and kind of wonder.
I mean, really, really interested to seeing these, the spike reactions, how they get played out, because especially with like frailty and inertia tokens and the blood pox or blood rot, like that's going to be so interesting to see how that plays out in the new new set. So because I think it will actually have an effect on some of our current heroes. So
oh, definitely. Oh yeah, no for sure. We can talk in like another 30 minutes about these new spike cards, but we'll save that for when we get a little bit more spoilers and when we start to see potential meta change. I'm very optimistic on seeing a different meta coming emerging from this new set coming out, but we'll kind of see what goes on. You know what? I think we covered what was planned to talk about. So what do we? Okay, go ahead.
I have one train of thought. It's completely like it derails the tracks from where we're at.
Let's derail it.
It's tracking back to earlier when we were talking about Pro Tour or Baltimore, whatever's going on there. Because they announced, and I'll explain where this all come from, of course. But they
did make a huge announcement. You're absolutely right. Go ahead.
I don't know if I'm talking about the same one, but I was going to talk about the playmat they revealed, and then
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they announced it's going to be the grass or the shard, and then
Arknight Shard.
That might coalesce into there being a cold foil rune chant on that prize wall, which is where my thought was going. Because I was thinking about
a very reasonable thing to correlate with, yeah.
Because I was thinking about like the cold foil inertia tokens and all that. I'm like, when are we going to get those? And I'm like, wait, where's the rune chant? And then I'm like, all right, well, there's the mat for the rune chant. So that's my little derailment. But you can go on to it if you please.
I want to. So here's my problem. Is that I went through the first Pro Tour. I got the Heart of Fandom mats. I didn't go to the second one, so I don't have the Eye of Ophidia one.
So cool.
But I am going to go to this one, and I'm going to get this Arc Knight shard. And now I kind of feel like I kind of got to get that Eye now. I gotta, now my collector thing is triggering, and I was like, man, I kind of feel like I gotta get all the shards. I mean, am I wrong?
No, I think if you're kind of have to, but then it's like, did you play in that Pro Tour to get the mat? That's why I'm like, I wanted to get the Eye of Ophidia mat, but then I'm like, oh, did you plan it? I'm like, no. That's my issue with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like
that's fair.
I don't feel like there's anything that can really be done to the playmat situation. There's nothing that really makes me want to go out and buy more at this point. Yeah, I've already got a collection of 20 plus playmats, and some of them rarer than the others,
dude.
right?
Well, whenever you want to get rid of them, bro, I'll take them off your hands. I got like one that's stained.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like the whole collectability around playmats. I think like you kind of hold on to your couple that you really like, and
yeah, but these are gems.
Some could say it's like a playmat dilemma, honestly.
So, like, really, just vote with your wallet, right? If you can get them all, like, go for it, right? But like, if you're not attending those events, the prices are kind of different.
Yeah, they are. Here's another thought I had though too. Is what gym is next? First off, is it going to be a gym, or is it because they already had like they already had the landmark playmats, so it probably still going to be a gym.
That was that.
So the next one is Valahai.
Yeah, right.
Right.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
they have to skip over
that
library.
One's not the prettiest one to me. Yeah. So they already got the course room. They already got the library. Now it's Valahai, and I'm like, I'm not that stoked about Valahai. I'd be more about the Draconic one.
Yeah.
So, part of me is like, like the other ones, they look so pretty. The Grandeur of Valahai, I'm like, all right, whatever.
They might switch it up just because of,
Yeah, you go. You're
go for it. You're good. Okay, I was gonna say they might switch it up because that was like the first 3 main sets, so they might try to maintain with that theme. I can't imagine they'd want to keep going off.
You might be right about that. Yeah.
Like, no one's gonna blame you if like you only have the first 3 gems, right? Like, that's already better than like.
Yeah, I mean, okay, that's fair.
Right?
That's fair.
So I think you can.
Good point.
I think that becomes a natural cutoff. So like, as far as like a playmat collection, whatever, however you want to put that, I think having the first 3 gems would be pretty key, right? So, like, you got the first 3 gems, you got the world's playmat. Like, yeah, I think
that's true.
You're pretty.
I'm an OG.
Oh yeah.
No. Okay. All right. Enough about me. I like that. We can talk more about me, but let's talk about what people actually want to hear about, and that's what Jonathan has to say.
This is true
because there's a storm of brewing, and so we let this podcast be your release.
Yeah. So, kind of just a small discussion that I've had kind of internally, but I've been a little upset with some of the recent podcast information, especially when we talk about like ban and restricted announcements in the meta. So lately, just like listening to like the MNR podcast, Arsenal Pass, specifically, yeah, like their analysis on like the bans and what they thought the meta was going to be. Well, the meta hasn't changed. The bans didn't really do like a whole lot other than hypothermia in my mind, right? Yet, like, it feels like, when Tark, Vittel, Brendan Patrick, and Hayden Dale, they kind of talk in their last podcast, it's like, yeah, no one saw the Icelander was going to be good. I just call bullshit. Like,
right.
I don't know. Like, I feel like they've gotten away with, like, not really saying how they truly feel about the meta, and like at a certain point it's like what's there even really worth listening to their podcast outside of new releases?
I I myself made a video about the tier list and about my thoughts on the VNR. and I was completely wrong. But I think that's kind of a good like point just to the viewers themselves. It's just like, you know, I'm not a Michael Hamilton, you know, you know, our channel is not as big as like Arsenal Pass and whatnot, which are going to get more viewers and whatnot. But even those bigger channels and even the bigger players, you know, should all be taken with some sort of like some size of a grain of salt. Maybe a silo of salt, maybe a grain of salt,
depends on the
something. But yeah, it's just
like,
you know, don't always go with what you hear. Do your own little analysis. You know, don't just take everything to gospel and like take everything.
Yeah, I think you can look back at like past tweets that people have done to kind of hold the validity. With Tarek talking about Knick Knack Brick Rack, what was that? Do you remember that tweet that Tarek talked about that?
Yeah. He's definitely known for putting out red herrings.
So that was specifically a Channel Fireball article, and like realistically, like even like the Channel Fireball articles that I've been seeing Tarek release lately, like they've kind of just become a joke. Like I don't know, like it's just a meme of like, hey, whatever he does, like he's not actually gonna bring, right? And like he did like actually he did bring Briar recently, which was kind of like a surprise compared to like
they bring Briar with Evergreen.
Yeah, compared to like all the other articles, it's like that was probably the most realistic one. But yeah, it's just become one of those things where it's like these competitive players are not giving you the details, right? And you know, I think there's that understandability of like holding things back, but when they're specifically telling you, hey, play these heroes, and like they're not even touching them, when like Icelander is clearly the best, yeah, I really don't get that. So I feel like there's a bit of a conflict of interest there. And then like something else that they kind of said was like, oh yeah, I thought that Amulet of Ice and Hypothermia were going to be enough of a ban, when it's like Insidious Chill is just so strong. And like it's literally the engine that keeps Icelander good. Like this is something that I've been complaining about since the ban and restricted announcement came out. I thought that they shouldn't have banned Winter's Wail. I think they should have banned Crown of Seeds. And I think that they shouldn't have banned Amulet of Ice. They should have banned Insidious Chill. And like, yeah, like again, those heroes are still top tier. They haven't budged an inch from where they were. So it's like, don't necessarily trust everyone's opinion. Even we're fallible, right? And you know, if you think that there's a better opinion, or hey, maybe we're missing the mark there, I would definitely appreciate comments below just saying that. And you know, helping us lead to a better perspective.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like we want to provide a perspective that's not only unique, but that's kind of can be taken up against. And you know, we want to say that these hold water, they don't, right? So but I feel like when someone says, oh, we didn't expect Icelander or Oldhim to be at the top of the meta, I'm really curious who you're talking to in the competitive realm, because I think that when you listen to We Make Best, when you listen to Card Guys, when you listen to us, we were all stating that these were the best decks. And like, yeah, sure, we don't have the viewership that maybe Arsenal Pass or the MNR podcast has, but without a doubt, like, I don't know who you were talking to if you didn't think that those two decks were the best.
I mean, we did think Oldhim was dead.
Oh, I thought Oldhim was dead.
We published it, so
even within those internal discussions, I was complaining within Sneep that you guys don't know what you're talking about, and I think Eric would even be willing to.
It's true. Well, I want to go back to what you're saying with like having people comment. I think that's huge because we read them. We definitely read them all. And even with the Oldhim one, you know, people were talking high on Viscerai and stuff like that. And I just want to say is that I read those comments of you guys, and a comment is what led to one of our best videos, the Levia video. You know, we were doing the Brute spoiler for Dynasty. Someone mentioned how Berserk's been working very well with them in Levia. I went ahead and built a deck, tried it out, was very happy with the deck, made the deck video, and it's one of our best ones yet. And so it's like the comments is very useful. You know, everyone has good opinions. Everyone has bad opinions. So it's like the more opinions you get, the more you can kind of test things and talk about things. The more voices are around, the better off the result. So I very much like that idea. And if you haven't commented before, just because oh well, who am I, or what are they going to say? Just go for it. If anything, it'll make someone think, and that's what it's there for, right?
Yeah. And given
shout out the person too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I definitely think
we should. What now?
We should shout out the Levia guy for doing that because
I did in that video for sure.
Jeff Morvan 394. I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay,
give props to
there you go. Yeah,
I think that's really good. And in those situations where it's the season is a little bit busier and we may not be able to come out with a video for that specific deck tech, but for maybe the Viscerai comment, right? Because this is a pretty busy season right now.
I've tested Viscerai.
Yeah,
and it didn't work out. That's why I didn't make a video.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is we get that information and then we do tests, right? So just because we're not putting out a video doesn't mean that we're not testing on the back end and really listening to these opinions. And I think that's healthy for any competitive realm, right? Whenever someone says, "Hey,
absolutely,
look at this," you should be testing it, right?
You should check it out. You should check it out. And I want to also say is that during the calling in Indianapolis, talked to a few guys that watched the show or the channel, and one guy was like, "Hey, I really liked your Reinhardt video," and I said, I appreciate it. He was like, "Yeah, I've seen other Reinhardt videos." And they just they weren't there, but your deck worked out pretty well. And then he recommended someone else's video that he saw, and it worked very well. So I definitely watch more than just one video. Get more opinions out there, more deck lists out there. But the other thing is I want to mention this is that when we don't put out videos, we don't have a video for every deck out there. And the reason is because I only want to put out videos of decks that have worked for me personally or that has worked for one of our teammates. Because, we could just make fun decks out there, but if they're not going to win you an armory, then it's not going to be in our channel. That's our first and foremost
philosophy.
That being said, continue watching other videos because there's probably better decks out there anyways.
Yeah, if we're passionate about the sideboarding, if we're passionate about the deck itself and what that deck can do, we'll post that video, right? So I think that's a really great call out. While some of these decks may not necessarily be S tier, we'll give you what tier that we think that they are, right? And really we're going to give you our opinion before the video, and then we're gonna post that video and give you the tech, right? So I just think
I'll never posted a video that won't win you an armory.
Yeah, all I would say is that before any major event, whether that's a Pro Tour, calling, Nationals, or Worlds, right? It's just be extremely cautious of the information that you're getting from these quote unquote pro players, because they know that the meta is a little aggro tilted, right? So, they're going to lead you to the aggro deck so that they can play the control deck that beats that deck, right? So, there is quite a bit of play towards that. I think that this narrative, we've seen it before, but lately I think with the last ban and restricted announcement, I think I've seen it a little bit more rampant than I like. And I would be remiss not to voice my opinion when I think that there are casual viewers that are being led astray.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. I think it led to a good discussion. You know what? We're right at that hour mark. I think we wrapped up pretty well here. How do y'all feel? Anything else you want to mention?
I feel a little hot right now. Yeah. a little heated on that topic there, so my apologies.
It got a little toasty, yeah. No, I think this is good. I think we've had a lot of news that happened over this last week. We're starting to get the spoilers. Probably get some more once we start getting that point where it's the week before. It's you get 9 spoilers this day, 10 spoilers the next day, and then the week's over, and then the new set comes out, right? we'll start putting up those videos all over again. We'll get to talking all over again about them. So stick with us. We'll have more Outsiders talk, I'm sure, in the next one. We'll get a new guest in for the next one as well. I'm going to try to get Levi. That's going to be the goal. This is a perfect time. We'll talk some Ranger before Azaleas even come out there. Mm-hmm. And then he'll convince Jonathan to buy the Sandskyr.
Yes, sir.
So that's the hope. So stick with us, episode 21. Until then, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you, Jonathan and Gabe, for helping me host another podcast here.
Thank you.
And keep on fabbing. We'll catch you in the next one.